Hi, welcome back to The Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda, and today is the final episode in the Halloween crafting series this year. I always admire those little Halloween towns that they always have set up in the department stores with the little characters and the lights and the little houses, but they're usually a lot of money. So I came across this dollhouse and another dollhouse at the Goodwill, and this one was only $1, and the second one I'll show you was only $2, and I thought they would be perfect to transform into my very own little haunted dollhouses. Here they are, the start of my very own Halloween village. I was so excited to get started on these. They were pretty dirty, so I just used some multi-surface cleaner and an old toothbrush and cleaned them up. It occurred to me as I was washing this house that maybe this could go in the dishwasher. So I didn't have time to run mine through the dishwasher because I wanted to start my project right away. But that could be a tip for you guys. Just run them through the dishwasher. Piper was very interested in what I was up to today. And another thing occurred to me as I was cleaning this little pink house. I think it might actually be a Calico Critters house. And my little niece loves these type of little toys. And maybe she would really like to play with this doll house. So as I was cleaning it up, I made the decision to not turn this pink one into a haunted house, that I would give it to my little niece to play with, and I would turn the blue one into the haunted house. All I'm going to use on this house is various different colors of paint. And the first thing I'm going to do is paint the whole thing with sort of a primer coat of black. This is more to just have a base coat down so that the rest of my layers of paint will have something to stick to. Some sort of paint with a primer in it would be awesome, or you could take it outside and spray paint the whole thing. I'm just using what I had on hand, which was the Kills chalk paint. Now, of course, the house looks plenty creepy enough just painted black. So if you wanted to leave it that way, you absolutely could. Put some lights in it and stop right here. But I'm going to add some details to the house. So I'm going to have all these different various sizes of brushes to get all the little details. I'm going to start with the siding, and I'm using Waverly chalk paint in mineral because I wanted it to be kind of a dirty white color. Like it once upon a time was a white-sided house, a wooden-sided house, like maybe an abandoned farmhouse, possibly. But I wanted it to look like a dirty white, and the mineral had the brown tint to it that I wanted, but it was a little too brown. So I'm also mixing with it some white chalk paint. So I'm not a very patient person when it comes to details and taking my time and being careful when I'm painting. When I'm painting, I want to put the paint on there. I want it to go quickly, and I want the end result to be as instantaneous as possible. So what winds up happening is I get that off-white color paint on a lot of the other details that I didn't want the off-white paint on, but it's easily cleaned up in the end. So if you're like me and you rush through your painting and you get different colors of paint on your trim that you didn't want there, don't worry, I'll show you how to fix it. The next step in my process was to add some worn places to the siding where it looked like the paint has worn off of the house or chipped off of the house. So I'm using my Waverly paint in Truffle to accomplish this effect. And I'm using a foam brush. And as you can see, I'm just barely getting paint on my brush, and then I'm dragging and wiping that paint back off on the side of the paint can just so that I have the littlest amount, and I'm mostly just dry brushing it on. I know that so far this project looks not quite right, but trust me, there is a method to my madness, and I think that the more layers of paint that you add onto these things, the more realistic they start to look. Unless it's just my eyes seeing things differently, but I really think that you're able to bring out more details the more layers that you put, and the more you play around with it, the more you see what needs to be done. Next, I begin to work on the foundation, the carport, and the trim and details of the house that ultimately I want them to look black, but I don't want them to be just a solid black. I want there to be different variations of black. This house has been sitting for a long time. It might have stuff growing on it. And so I'm making a second color black to go on top of what's already on there using black chalkboard paint and some dark gray paint. It's called Pewter from Apple Barrel. So I mix those two paints together, and I'm using a smaller brush to go in with some of those details. And this is your opportunity to fix those places where you might have gotten a little messy with your lighter color paint. With a smaller detail brush and the darker color paint, it's just really easy to go in and touch those places up. And remember, this is a haunted house. This is an old abandoned haunted house, and so perfection really isn't key anyway. I wanted my window frames and my door frame and my door to pop a little, so I did go back in with just plain black chalk paint to do the window frames and the door. I wanted to make the illusion that the front steps were old, creaky, rotted wood boards. And so I did some truffle paint, which is the brown chalk paint. And then I went back over that with some black. And I think that gave it a real, rotty wood effect. The trim on the house was looking just a little too clean for my liking, so I decided to dry brush a layer of black on the top. And this part really brought out the details on the railing and on the front columns of the house and the stones that are on the foundation of the house that really brought it to life for me. And then I used the black chalk paint to fill in the roof a little better. I didn't get this part on camera, but I did do one more coat of that original base coat black inside the house just to make it a finished look. The last thing I did was paint the chimney with that pewter gray from Apple Barrel. So I feel like I have the perfect haunted house for my little characters to live in. I bought these at Menards, which is a big box hardware store that we have in my area. Some of them were $2 and some of them were $3. I don't really understand the difference in pricing, but they were the perfect size for my little haunted dollhouse. This guy just sitting out on the balcony enjoying his book with his birds may very well be my favorite character in the house. And here is the before, the $2 Goodwill dollhouse. And here is the creepy, spooky after. A neat thing to use is this LED projector from the Dollar Tree, and you can cast that right through the front door of your haunted dollhouse, and it gives it such a creepy little effect. And the monsters and creatures that live in my haunted dollhouse like to decorate for Halloween the same as I do, so they've put some lights outside of their house. So, if you love the idea of a Halloween village but you don't want to spend the money, take a tip from me and go hunt your local Goodwill store and thrift stores and find those doll houses and transform them, and all it takes is just a little bit of paint. Thanks for joining me this year for the Halloween crafting series. I'm so happy I got to meet some new viewers, and I'm glad that you all enjoyed these videos. If you haven't quite got your fill of Halloween DIYs, I provided a link for you right here so you can watch another one of my Halloween DIY videos. It could be one you've never seen before. So have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye!